And welcome to a very special live edition of Squared Circle Radio here on our YouTube channel. My name is Chris Belcher. That's the Young Buck Andy York. And Andy, WrestleMania is in the books, and it was one to remember because since the inception of the two nights, I don't know that night two has surpassed night one since this two-night format. I know the 40 main event was incredible, but the night as a whole, I don't know that it surpassed night one. Tonight, I think we can say that night two surpassed night one.
Night two surpassed night one within the first 10 minutes of the show. I think is very, very safe to say. Night two, honestly, it felt like we had a single night of WrestleMania this year. Like the stark difference between night one and night two, I think, is very telling, because it seemed like one was very influenced by one part and night two seemed very influenced by a different part. And I think you can kind of see those fingerprints everywhere. So it was an amazing, amazing night, a complete difference between night one and night two.
Yeah, it definitely was. And we're going to get into all of it, including a new world heavyweight champion, a new women's world champion, a new United States champion, an unexpected retirement, all of the things. We're going to get into all of them. Full disclosure, I'm in a hotel lobby right now. I'm not in a room. So if you hear background noise, I apologize. I'm going to do the best that I can do. Listen, it's the dedication, Andy, that we have here at Squared Circle Radio to make sure that we bring you a post show, mainly because, Andy, during WrestleMania, our channel hit 400 subscribers. Thank you so much to everybody who has done that. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Thank you to Tom Bryce for having me on the show earlier to talk about WrestleMania. I think we got a few subs from that as well. Thank you so much to everybody who has helped us out and supported us. Andy, let's get into the main event, man. Roman Reigns, the OTC, back on top as your world champion. And Andy, there were two things that I said defined this match and why I thought Roman was going to win. One being the world champion appears on the Today Show the day after WrestleMania, and that appearance just had to be done by Roman Reigns. Secondly, this would have been 3 WrestleManias in a row that he had lost, and I just didn't see it happening. But overall, Andy, aside from those two things, that's what a main event should have been. That was an absolute, the crowd was split 50-50. And just an incredible main event capped off by a Roman Reigns win.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easily the best main event from both nights. I would say from an in-ring perspective, because I know 40 is spectacular for all of its things.
Sure.
But I think this is the best in-ring WrestleMania main event we've had in decades. I would say decades at this point. I think it was absolutely amazing from start to finish. You could feel the hatred, you could feel the blood feud between the two. Yep. And it didn't need the flashy circumstances, it didn't need celebrity involvement, it didn't need somebody sticking their nose in. It was just two guys who hated each other and went out there and beat the crap out of each other the entire time. And I think that is what a WrestleMania main event should be. And I think Roman killed it. I think Punk killed it. I do have some questions about Roman winning, because is he going to show up week in and week out now? I highly, highly, highly doubt it. So goodbye title. We'll see you at SummerSlam, I guess. But I do really, really enjoy the story of the match and the way that things happen. We talked about it last night. Last night's main event felt like 3 different stories into one match. Tonight, from the beginning of the build to the end of the match, it was the same story from start to finish. And I think that's why it felt like such a big deal. It felt like a WrestleMania main event.
Yep. From the entrances to the introductions to the bell to the pace of the match, everything, the risk that these guys took, the moves that they pulled out, doing each other's moves, this, that, and the other. Yes, it was a WrestleMania main event, and the crowd showed it too, man. And I was texting you the whole time. The crowd was 50-50. the whole night. Every time a Roman Reigns chant would start, a CM Punk chant would follow it. And it just, there were so many people with ones to the sky, but there were that many people that were singing along to Cult's personality. And it was wild. It really was. That's what a main event should be, especially when you're putting two guys in there that are technically baby faces and the crowd loves them all. And I thought it was fantastic. I think that one reason that one maybe change. I hate to say change because I don't know if it's going to change. You talked about Roman week in and week out. Is he going to have the title? Is he going to be on the show? Blah, 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 blah. I think a stark difference, and maybe it's something to look forward to, is that Roman won this by himself. When's the last time Roman won a match by himself? There was no outside interference in this match. You mentioned no celebrity involvement. There was nothing. And it was straight up the best two guys. It's the absolute main event that we needed to have. Roman won it by himself. So maybe, Andy, maybe that's a change in times. I'm not saying Roman's going to be there every week, but maybe this reign will look a little different than the last one.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to last nearly as long as the last one did. I would be shocked if Roman is still champ by Rumble. if we're being real honest with kind of how this booking is going, and with just his schedule and everything else, I think it is going to be a difference. And again, like we talked about, he did it by himself. There wasn't even a ref bump in this match. Like that is shocking in a Roman Reigns match. There wasn't.
I was waiting for one.
I think everybody was waiting the whole time for the ref bump to happen. It never came. And it was a straight up. I may be biased, and I'm okay with that. I think this was Reigns' best in-ring WrestleMania main event ever. Like I think 31, he was great. I think 32, 33, 34, we've talked about on the channel this week about not being the best. But then 37 was amazing. But I think you can throw in there Daniel Bryan and Edge carried a large portion of that match. And then 38 with Lesnar was what it was. 39 with Cody was an amazing story, but the end was, kind of up in the air. 40, it's kind of hard to count it as a in-ring wrestling match because of everything that happened. And then last year, the Triple Threat was great. I'm not taking anything away from it. I think on a one-on-one, middle of the ring, just two guys going at it, I think this was Reigns' best WrestleMania main event in ring. And I think it was by far just an amazing night. It shows a different side of him. I hope we get a different side of him during this reign where it's not, leaving for several months, coming back, or, only defending it every now and then. I would love for him to be there, maybe not every week, but more. He's there more than he's not there. I think that is really important with him being champion.
If you're live with us in the chat, thank you so much for being here. Drop those comments, questions, reactions, all the things. Oh, we would appreciate that so very much. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Yeah, man, I think this could be a change for Roman. You saw how the show went off the air. Roman was hugging his family in the front row. Like when has that ever happened? You know what I mean? Like that, we haven't seen that on camera. So I think you're right as far as maybe he shows up a little more often. I do think this is his best in-ring performance. The overall package of 40, like you alluded to earlier, maybe that's still better. Maybe that still, is what it is. But I thought it was fantastic. And I think the right two guys now are the world champions of the company, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, to represent the company. But I'll say this, salute to CM Punk in his world title reign was far better than I think a lot of people expected it to be, even if it did come at the expense of a Seth Rollins injury. I thought he held the title well. I thought he preached the message of the title well, and it'll be interesting to see how Roman carries that on. But as a CM Punk fan, talk about that. And if this is in fact his only world title reign, this current WWE run that he has, who knows how much longer that he actually has, but he had a great reign with it.
Yeah, I mean, he had a fantastic reign. I think tonight I mean, especially tonight, but it just solidified and proved he should have always been a main event guy. Like, it's a shame that it's taken this long for him to finally get. I know he's in the main event last year, but like a singles one-on-one to end the night main event, it's a shame it's taken this long because he proved tonight at his age, which is a kind of a theme of the night because we'll talk about another guy who is 51 years old and could keep up with some of the best young talent today and didn't miss a step. But like, it never looked like Punk was gassed. It never looked until it was needed in the story. I think that was a very key part of it. It never looked like Punk was holding Roman down. It never looked like Punk was just the odd man out of that main event. He deserved to be there. He proved he deserved to be there. He proved that, he's always should have been a main event guy. He's now getting that opportunity. I don't know if this is his last world title reign. I think if it ever gets back on Seth, that is always something that you can very easily pick back up and keep telling that story. I think he's got probably just a couple more years left in the tank of doing this to the level that he's doing it. And so, who knows? He may win another world title. I think him winning, not necessarily the World Heavyweight Championship, I think him going back after the WWE Championship is something that he could absolutely do. Him and Cody could have that feud going into SummerSlam or Mania next year or whatever. So I'm not going to say that I think this is his last one, but if it is his last one, I mean, he went out being one of the best to hold that new title, if not the best champion that we've had with that new title. And so I think he's done a great job with it. It's nice to not just see a world champion on TV, but it's nice to have two guys like Cody, like Drew was even, and like Punk, who hold that title, knows how important it is to have that title. And week in, week out, whether it was on the mic, whether it was in ring, whether it was backstage, they just felt like the world champion. And I think that is such an important thing that Punk has done so well over the last, 100-something days.
And I'm not a huge Punk fan, but I completely concur with everything that you said there. I think running back Cody and Punk, at least for the first time in WWE, is a good move. Give Punk a little bit of time off. That dude needs some rest. He couldn't even pick Roman up for the sake of GTS. He's so old. I'm just kidding. He
lost.
Kidding.
Hey, listen, you know how much blood that man lost tonight?
Probably quite a bit. Let's get to some comments here from Levi in the chat, talking about how great the match was. The timing was off the charts. Love to see them working well together. If Punk develops the same kind of chemistry with anyone similar to Roman, he could go for a bit more. I think he's got it with Seth. I think that's an easy one to be able to run back. It seems like Punk has the best chemistry with the guys he doesn't like. That's really interesting.
It is. It is.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Punk's got a little more left in the tank. Maybe not on a weekly basis, but we'll see. We'll have to see. All right. Thank you guys for being with us here on Squared Circle Radio. Let's talk about some more Night 2 reactions at WrestleMania 42. Obviously, I'm still here in Las Vegas. I'm about to catch a red eye here in just a little bit, but we are here for you, breaking this whole thing down. That's the Young Buck Andy York. My name is Chris Belcher, and Andy, not only do we have a new World Heavyweight Champion, we have a new Women's World Champion. Rhea Ripley defeating Jade Cargill in a finish that, quite frankly, I'm shocked by. I hoped they would put the title back on Rhea, because you and I talked a lot last night on our reaction show about a kick in the pants that the women's division needed. And I think tonight they got it with Rhea winning.
Yeah, I think they did too. And I think it's a big deal that Rhea did win. I think what happened yesterday in the news we got about Bianca probably led into a lot of this, that, okay, if we're not going to be able to do Jade and Bianca anytime soon, take the title off her for a while, put it back on her, maybe next year, WrestleMania or whatever. That being said, easily Jade Cargill's best match. I mean, I think we both kind of talked about, we didn't have a lot of expectations for this. It blew all my expectations out of the water. And not just like Rhea selling for whatever. Jade looked really, really good in the ring tonight. She looked the part. I'm telling you, when she walks out with that title, it looks like that title was made for her. I mean, there are certain people that when they have a WWE championship or just a championship in general, Jade has that. It looks like it's made for her. The match itself was great. The ending of it was fantastic. The way that they were able to reverse out of the jaded into the Riptide was just awesome. So yeah, it was a much better match than I think a lot of people anticipated. But I think that's credit to both ladies. Like I think that's a credit to Rhea. I think it's also credit to Jade that I know she hadn't defended the title much, but you don't see her work a lot. And then when you see her in that, you go, oh, she can kind of go. Like she's got it in her to do it with the right person. And I think that was absolutely tonight with Rhea.
Levi in the chat saying it was the best finish of the night. Final counter sequence was awesome. City Kitty saying Jade and Rhea was a banger. I want to go back to City Kitty's other comment real quick because I guess Roman was on the I clicked the wrong comment. Sorry. Roman was on the post show saying he was going to be at Raw tomorrow night, which I think we knew it. I think he was advertised already, and the part-time stuff is over. You're going to see him all summer long. That'll be interesting. If we, it's probably a bit of a stretch. Probably a bit of a stretch, but that's good to hear him acknowledge it and say that, he's going. I'll be interested to go back and listen to his comments on the post show. Levi saying Jade is clearly the strongest physical presence in the women's division, without a doubt, hands down. And I'm like you, Andy. We didn't have high expectations. I haven't had high expectations for Jade since she got to WWE, but I've also said that with the right dancing partner, they can make her look great. The old Paul Heyman adage, to enhance the strengths and hide the weaknesses. And that's what Rhea was able to do with Jade tonight. Got some outside interference. Rhea was able to overcome it. EO getting a nice pop coming out.
Yeah.
Man, I thought for a minute at the end the EO was going to turn on Rhea. I really did.
Yeah. I don't see EO turning heel anytime soon with how popular she is. But when that friendship will split, I think it is going to be Rhea turning. And it probably will be over that WWE Women's Championship. So I think it's the right story for it. Plus, I think we kind of talked about it, I think Monday, you knew they were going to try to find any spot for EO to show up on the show one way or another. And even if it was just in a run-in like this, it was worth it. The crowd popped for her. It was a great, great moment.
So Levi saying in the chat, is Jade getting better? Is Rhea carrying? Is it both? I think it's both. There's no way that Jade's not getting any better the time that she spit in WWE with the talent that's around her. And then you put Rhea Ripley, who's probably the best in the game, in there with her. And absolutely, City Kitty agrees that it's both. So what's next? I mean, I guess this means Rhea is changing brands. I don't think they'll switch the titles, like they've done in the past. So Rhea's going to SmackDown. It's a whole new crop of people for her to face. What do you think's next for the new champ?
I wouldn't be shocked if they don't run this back between her and Jade at Backlash, if they don't hold off a little bit and run it back kind of soon. I'm trying to think of who's on the SmackDown Women's Division. I mean, Nia is always an option now that she's not tag champ anymore. I feel like Nia is always the option after Rhea wins the title. Is like, oh, let's put Nia in there because she's the big girl and you can kind of get that. If you want to try to put over a new star, I think Lash Legend would be another one. Of the two of them going at it, I think Jordynne Grace is another option of Rhea and Jordynne Grace. I think they can have an absolutely amazing match. And then I think she's probably on the way to losing the title. I think Julia's on the way to losing her IC title or US title, I should say. So she could be another option of kind of going back and forth. But I do think there's a lot of possibilities with Rhea as champ, more than there is if Jade would have retained.
Yeah, even though Jade only defended the title like 3 times in the however long she was champion, I think it's definitely time's run out on her title reign, and Rhea gets a fresh crop of talent with Tiffany Stratton, with Julia, with Kiana James, with Charlotte Flair, with Nia Jax, with Lash Legend, with Paige, with Brie Bella, with Nikki, with Alexa Bliss. If you want, you've got. It seems like the women's division. It doesn't matter who's on whatever show. It's not as clear of a delineation as it is for the men. It seems like there's a lot of background noise happening in the lobby right now. So if it's loud, I do apologize. But Andy, let's get to the other title change that happened tonight. Trick Williams rightfully defeating Sami Zayn in a match that was supposed to, we knew that Sammy was going to get boos. We knew that he was going to get booed, but it was bad, man. It was this crowd was 100% pro Trick, and a lot of fun. The atmosphere for this one was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you could tell from watching it at home that the atmosphere was pro Trick. I think his entrance alone kind of just showed how big of a star that kid's going to be as he develops and gets better and better. He looked the part tonight. He looked like he was supposed to be there at WrestleMania. My only issue with this match is that he had to have help from Little Yachty to beat Sammy. So I think that's like the one kind of issue I have with it, of him not being able to beat him by himself. I think at Backlash.
After all, he's a heel, though. He's supposed to be a heel as of right now.
Is he?
Supposed to be. I said he's supposed to be.
I don't think so, though, because the way he reacted after he won and the whole entrance, it seemed like full-on babyface. And it seemed like Sammy was full-on heel. So I think that was kind of the intention of it. But it doesn't really matter. Like the finish to that match was amazing. Trick looks really good with the U.S. Championship. I think there are so many options we can run with now. Sammy can always, probably turn heel, and maybe Sammy goes after Roman in a little bit for that title, run that back with it being reversed. I don't know. I think it was a really, really good spot. I think Trick looked amazing. And I think he's going to do great things with that U.S. Championship. I do.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's the lightning bolt that you had to ride, and we'll talk about riding a lightning bolt here in a minute with the opening match. But Levi in the chat, Trick has great physique, lots of talent. He just needs experience. Absolutely. That coat train was crazy long.
That was awesome.
That was, yes, it was. Levi saying Latin American has the U.S. title. Well, let's not. Julia has the women's U.S. title, so let's not get too crazy. But that's beside the point. No, I said this was my lock of WrestleMania, and it had to happen. You had to go ahead and put Trick over. Yes, he's young. Yes, he may be green. Yes, he probably has a long way to go as far as developing his skills, but he's one of those undeniable talents that you see what you got. And I think I just have a hard time. I guess that's why it was Sami Zayn. I just keep going back to this Carmelo Hayes thing, man. And I guess not wanting to beat Carmelo Hayes, but dude, imagine if this was Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams on a WrestleMania show for the championship. Like, I guess the crowd would have been less split. So I guess they're telling the story that they want to, but man, it just feels like a missed opportunity with their history and this, that, and the other.
Yeah, I think it really was a missed opportunity to have Carmelo. I mean, I think it's a missed opportunity to have Carmelo not on the show at all. I think he should have been on there somewhere. Because listen, with all the ad breaks and stuff, we had the time, so we could have thrown another 2 or 3 matches on this whole weekend. But I do think they told the story they wanted to tell. They wanted Sammy to come out there. I think he wants to. I think they're turning him. I mean, obviously they're turning him heel. Otherwise, they're doing a horrible job at telling his character. And so I think it was just the right opportunity to do this to get the most support. But even the thing is, even before this whole thing happened with Sammy and Carmelo, Trick was wildly over. I mean, Trick was crazy over with the crowd before all of this. I think this is going to add even more to it. I think he's got such a high ceiling and such a high threshold. We talk about all the time of future WWE champions or future world champions. Who are they? What could they be? I think you have to put Trick in that conversation as a future WWE future world heavyweight champion easily.
Levi in the chat saying that he needs somebody to make him look good, and perhaps that's why Sami Zayn was in there to help Trick look good, because Sammy is very consistent in the ring and knows how to put people over. Who would you put Trick with next, he asks. I think he's sticking with Sammy for another month. As much as I don't like that feud running back, I think Sammy again. Who do you think?
I mean, you could always just do Carmelo. You could do You could do Trick Carmelo right off the rip because they've got great chemistry together. I don't know. I don't think he needs somebody in there to do a lot of the work. Like, I think you could put him in there with a Kit Wilson, and I think they would have a great match or a great, story or feud going forward. So I think he's got a lot of uprise. You're probably looking at Sammy. You're probably looking at Carmelo. Ilya Dragunov is always right there as well. That's looking for the U.S. title. Matt Cardona. Aleister Black even could go after the U.S. title at some point. So I think there are a lot of options for him to go for, or there's a lot of options of feuds that he can be in. But I think no matter who you put him in there with, I think he's going to be able to carry and have a really, really good match with just about anybody on the roster.
Yeah, he definitely, even though he doesn't have as much experience, he's a big guy, and big guys only need to do so much. And that physique,
he's crazy athletic too.
Yes, he is. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he's crazy athletic.
Yeah, he really is. I skipped over something that happened. Oh, City Kitty says Montez Ford. That
would be awesome.
Put him in there for a bit. We know he's going to be out for a while as well. I can't believe we skipped over. I'm just going through matches in my head here. We skipped over. We finally got the appearance of Danhausen. We talk about all the debuts, the WrestleMania debuts. It wasn't an actual match, but Danhausen making his first appearance at WrestleMania. Dude, it was exactly what it needed to be, and it was so much fun, and the crowd just ate it up.
Yeah, Danhausen is ridiculously over right now, and the whole segment. I mean, if you tried to do that with anybody else on the card, it would have flopped so hard. I mean, it would have been horrible. Even when like the New Day tried to do stuff like this, and I think Truth tried to do stuff like this. I think Danhausen's the only one that could get away with it. The whole interaction between Danhausen and Cena and Miz and Kit Wilson, this kind of humor is right up Cena's alley. Like, he has this kind of dorky, weird humor. And you could tell, I don't know if you could see it on the screen, but you could tell the entire time Cena was having the time of his life during this whole segment. I mean, he was doing everything he could to not break. And I think Danhausen finally got him with the pyro going off. And then he looked around like, oh, yeah, I'm supposed to leave. And then crawled under the ring. And then all the midgets that he had crawled into the ring too, which you didn't hear this on commentary. Michael Cole, right off rip, called them midgets. And then instantly went, and before you start getting mad, he said, before you start getting mad, they asked us to call them on commentary midgets. So be mad at them. Don't be mad at us. And it was just hilarious the whole way. Them coming down, it was a great WrestleMania segment. It was a great WrestleMania moment. Yep. Danhausen and Cena, I wish we could get more of them together because I think they could have a lot of fun together. But for this one moment, just absolutely amazing.
At WrestleMania Hausen, no less. Levi, and when you can't see Hausen. Yes.
When he shook Cena's hand and said, I'm a big fan, Hausen, I lost it.
I know, me too. Danhausen, Cena Hausen, just it's great. Like you said, this is Cena humor right here. If people don't know that, and he loved every bit of this. It was so cool. Yeah, it was the perfect thing to do. There's so much commentary that I want to go back and listen to. This was one of them for sure. Yes, City Kitty saying glad Michael clarified. Yeah. Aren't we all? But it was hard to tell until they started carrying, at least from where I was, it was hard to tell until they started carrying Miz out if they were in fact midgets or if they were like young kids. Because I couldn't really tell from where I was and everything, but it was a lot of fun. It was great. I never did see Danhausen leave from under the ring.
He may still have been under there the whole time.
May have just stayed
under one of the greatest WrestleMania main events ever. Danhausen's just under the ring.
Dude, if he would have popped out during the main event, that would have been the greatest.
That would have been hilarious.
Ever. Oh my gosh! All right. We got to help our buddy Levi out here. He's got to be honest. He doesn't get it. Clearly the crowd. Yes, Levi, All 55,000 people were in this and they loved every second of it. But Levi doesn't get it. It's just, listen, wrestling is entertainment at the end of the day. There's serious characters, there's fun characters, there's dorky characters, there's athletes, there's all kinds of stories. There's room for everything in the world of wrestling, including Danhausen. And that's, Andy, that's just where it fits. This is the ridiculous side of WWE.
Yeah, I mean it is, and like you said, there's a lot of this in professional wrestling, no matter where you look. I don't know if you saw over WrestleMania weekend, but the Sandman was officially retired by the Invisible Man.
Yes,
and so shout out to the Invisible Man. He was able. Apparently, he was like holding out too on WrestleCon about where his booth wanted to be set up and everything. You can look at stuff like that with a critical mind and be like, this is ruining professional wrestling and blah, blah, blah. Did you see how many kids in that arena had their face painted like Danhausen? Yep. I mean, that tells you all you need to know about him. Is maybe he's not for the adults. Maybe he's not for the diehard professional wrestling fans. You know what he's doing, though?
Andy, how many adults I saw wearing Danhausen masks and Danhausen t-shirts and Danhausen hats this weekend?
Yeah.
He's for the adults, too.
Oh, he is, but he's bringing in like the kids as well, and I think that's such a big part of it. And he's so good at what he does. He lives the gimmick, and I think that's what makes Danhausen so amazing. I really do.
It's so amazing, I love it so much. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's talk about arguably the match of the night. We'll save that. We'll save that discussion for a minute. The absolute chaos that was the 6-way ladder match with Penta, Dragon Lee, Rey Mysterio, JD McDonough, Rusev, and Javon Evans. Dude, it was spot after spot. It was wild. I couldn't tell from where I was if there were any botches of any kind, if anybody fell. For the most part, it looked really clean to me. And it was hard hitting, and some of those bumps looked like they hurt really, really bad. But in the end, Andy, Penta retains the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, I mean, this is what you want when you put a IC ladder match together for WrestleMania. This is the blueprint of, we don't need to do rest holds. We don't need to do all this stuff. It just needs to be spot after spot after spot of just pure chaos from start to finish. We were talking about this, I mentioned it earlier when we were talking about Punk. Rey Mysterio is 51 years old, and the dude did not miss a step with guys like Javon Evans, who is like 3 times younger than him, probably 3 times quicker than him.
He wasn't even born when Rey Mysterio made his WrestleMania debut in 2003. Yeah.
So the fact that Rey is able to not just keep up with, like, he looked like he was still prime Rey Mysterio flying across the ring. He looked so good in that. Penta, I think, was the star of the show again because it's a ladder match and it's Penta. So, like, they go hand in hand. Also, I think he might have had the best entrance of the weekend. The mask and everything was it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect to see that. Javon Evans killed it. That OG cutter that he hit on Rusev was wild. Realistically, it doesn't make sense because Rusev jumped off the ladder to meet him, but who cares because it looked amazing. Like, it looked so good.
That's what I said too. Who cares?
Who cares? The Canadian Destroyer on the ladder, and then Penta using the ladder to hit the Destroyer on Javon Evans at the end. Just all of it was so good. Dragon Lee catching, I forget who it was. I think it was Ray, and hit him with the Styles Clash.
Yep.
And then you've got Rusev, who's just the brute, just throwing people around, throwing ladders around, putting people through ladders. Like, Rusev was there just to be the meathead. Just a perfect WrestleMania Intercontinental Championship ladder match from start to finish.
Yeah, our buddy Aaron texted me after the show, and he said that was his favorite match of the show. Any chaotic ladder match at a WrestleMania is just going to get over. City Kitty in the chat saying the ladder match was everything she knew it was going to be. Levi saying the top spots was Rusev going through the ladder, the Destroyer on the ladder, and then the backflip off the ladder by JD.
Spanish
we didn't even
fly.
talk about that when they pushed it over, and then he did. Yeah, I forgot about the Spanish fly. I was thinking the one where they pushed him over.
I forgot about that one too.
And did the moonsault. That was
Yeah.
wild, man.
Oh yeah,
that was so cool. We hit the under on my Destroyer count, which I was kind of sad about.
We got close.
I said 3.5 and we got 2. So
Yeah.
I needed 2 more though, but it's okay. But man, it was incredible. I thought for sure Javon Evans was going to win this match, but I'm not sad that Penta did. Javon Evans was a star in this match. I think everybody looked great in this match.
Yep.
I really do. Like there's normally like 1 or 2 in a ladder match this big that you're like, why were they even in it? What were they even doing? No. Everybody looked great in this match.
Yep.
And dude, the pop, I'm telling you, underrated pop in this match was when Dragon Lee hit the Styles Clash. Like people wanted to see it and they got behind him and they got it. And it was so fun, man. This is absolutely what needed to be on ESPN to showcase the WWE on night 2 of WrestleMania.
What started the night and this is the perfect choice to have that. And I think you're absolutely right. It was such a chaotic, I mean, I love chaotic car crash matches, especially if you throw weapons and ladders in there. Right up my alley. It was everything you wanted it to be. And it's one of those that like Javon Evans, I think was, and you could tell me because you were there, he sounded like he was the fan favorite going into the during the match and into the match. He sounded like from the arena, he was the fan favorite to win it. But then like Penta always wins people over when he's in the ring and does stuff. So it's one of those, like, I think there's maybe like 2 or 3 people, if they'd have won it, the crowd would have been like, oh, like that kind of diminished it. I think they did it absolutely perfect. I think it also just like establishes Penta as he's the IC champion now. I'm not shocked if he wins a world title sometime within the next, several years. Like I think he could be a world champion with the way that he's doing things.
Levi said this is his match of the night. I'm not ready to call mine just yet. I think we'll wait to the end of the episode and I'll determine what my match of the night was. Levi says this was his match of the night. City Kitty says I would have been fine with Penta, Javon, or Dragon Lee winning. I think that's the consensus. Andy, I know you mentioned Rusev possibly winning as well. Ray is an easy one as well. But I think between Penta and Javon Evans, I think they got it right as far as who wins this match. Speaking of weapons, and lots of them, let's talk about the match that wasn't supposed to be a street fight, but ended up being a street fight. We found that out on the kickoff show. The Demon Finn Balor went longer than 5 minutes. I expected it to only go 5 minutes. And Dominic Mysterio. The only nitpick that I have about this match, like the presentation of both of them was awesome. Both their entrances was great. The Demon looked awesome. Finn Balor always does a great job with that character. My only gripe, Andy, is it was a street fight that mostly stayed in the ring. I wanted a little more chaos than what we got, but happy with the result. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it's one of those that it's hard to have, street fights in WWE in some ways. But I think this was one of those that they did a really good job with it. I'm kind of shocked they didn't go outside the ring more. I wonder if it had something to do with like the paint on Finn or, the streamers, the thousands and thousands of streamers that were shot off during Finn's entrance that were just kind of laying everywhere. But I do think this was a really good match. I'm glad they actually added the stipulation. Like, I think if this would have just been a one-on-one match, I think it'd have been fine, but nothing crazy. I think what they did with this was great. I think everything that they did, the weapons they used, a coup de grace through the table is a gnarly bump to take.
Yes, it is.
Not only did he hit him in the chest, then he like rolled on his face as they both went through the table, which is like a great way to finish that match. And it like this made me realize how much I actually unconsciously or subconsciously missed the Demon. Like the Demon is such a fun character. I know we don't use him all the time. I think we started to use him way too much. But I do think he has his spot and his place. They pulled it out perfectly here. The entrance was amazing. To see him, like you mentioned, the
Yep.
face paint, the body paint was amazing. All of it. Dom's entrance was amazing. I don't think we're done with this feud. I think we probably run it back at Backlash. Maybe Dom gets his win back there, but overall, just a really fun, entertaining match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, Levi said the entrances were awesome, but it was a good bathroom break match. You missed it, buddy. I wouldn't have gone to the bathroom during this one. He wants to know this to continue their story. It absolutely continues their story because Dom will get his win back, and we'll see regular Finn Balor. I'll be interested to see, Andy, what the Demon looks like going forward. You mentioned obviously not pulling him out all the time. Finn Balor said on Cody Rhodes' podcast not long ago that he didn't feel like the WWE was using the Demon the way that he intended to use the Demon. So I wonder that now, I'm sure that he said that backstage more than he said it on a podcast or whatever. So I wonder how that influenced what they did tonight, and then how that'll influence the Demon moving forward. I'm not asking you to fantasy book when we're going to see the Demon or whatever. Did you see anything tonight? Was there anything in this story that maybe you feel like, oh, maybe that was Finn's personal touch rather than just the company wanting to bring out the Demon?
I think the entrance itself, I think, was Finn's touch of him coming down with the head on the spike. I'm not sure. I couldn't really tell. I think that was like his Judgment Day mask he wore all the time with like the spikes coming out of it. I couldn't fully tell. So I think that was just a great way to like kill off that version of Finn, bring back this version. I think when it comes to the Demon, like the big feuds, he needs to come out for the blow-off match. Like the last match, he needs to be the one coming out. Doesn't mean he's going to win every time, I think. But I think it's like the big match that he comes out for. Anytime he's fighting for like a world title on a big pay-per-view, I think he needs to have that Demon persona come out. I think it's one of those that, like, it was one of the conversations we kind of had with Bray too, of like, do we always need the Fiend, or can we have Bray Wyatt fight? And then the Fiend is what, like, oh, you keep beating down Bray, you're going to get the Fiend, and you don't really want that person to come back. I think the same can kind of be true with Finn, of maybe we start beating down Finn some, and then the Demon has to make the appearance to make things right, or to get back up, or whatever the case is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think as long as we do it in doses, and as long as Finn is cool with it, and it's not one of those things where because the Demon is a character that it's not believable if the guy playing it is not in it. And if Finn is not enjoying using the Demon character, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be worth it. You know what I mean? So hopefully going forward, we'll see the Demon on a more regular basis, obviously not too much, but on a more regular basis to where again, it allows, because Finn's a babyface now. And so he's able to bring out the Demon and the people get behind him. All right, let's talk about the opening match, man. Not only did Femi defeat Brock Lesnar in a big way, in a big fight feel. They even got the championship introductions for not a championship match, which was awesome. Big fight feel. Femi gets the win. Not only does he win, Andy, but apparently he retired Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar taking off his gloves and his boots. Let's talk about Brock first, because I think we all expected Oba to win. I made the case for Brock to win, but we all expected Oba to win. Nobody expected Brock to retire after his WrestleMania match.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't think anybody thought this was going to be the way that ended. Like, I think we all, especially like when he started taking off his gloves and everything, I kept waiting for Gunther to come out and attack him, or to like slap the sleeper on him or something. I really am shocked that this happened. Now, the first thing though that popped in my head was, we've seen this before with The Undertaker, and he wasn't really retired. Like, he didn't really retire after this moment. But with Brock, like, I feel like Brock's not the kind of guy to just do that unless it's real, especially with how emotional he got.
Yes, for sure.
Like how emotional he got, how emotional Paul Heyman was during it all. I think there's a good chance we see him again wrestle. If we get to SummerSlam and he's not on the card, he's done. Like, I don't think we see him at Mania next year. I think it's the next couple months that we're going to see for sure, if that's what we're going to get. But I was shocked by this moment. The crowd seemed like they were really shocked by it because they didn't really know what to do. They were booing him, taking off his gloves at one point. Then there was the "Thank you, Lesnar" chants that broke out. It was a wild moment. But it was something to really see.
Lots of emotions, man. Lots of emotions. At the end of the day, though, Brock Lesnar does the right thing, and he does what's best for business. There's no doubt about that. No matter how much we complain about him not being there or blah, 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 whatever, Brock does what's best for business. Levi in the chat, immediately after Brock left, the announcers questioned his retirement. Well, that's the story, is Paul Heyman still owes Gunther a favor. And that storyline is still going to be open, because now the story, it's not, hey, Paul, I want Brock Lesnar. It's, hey, Paul, I want Brock Lesnar to come out of retirement in his hometown at SummerSlam so that I can put him out to pasture, or, whatever it ends up being. So I think it's just as on the table as it was before this happened, because now there's a story to it. But I think you're absolutely right, Andy. If he's not on the SummerSlam card, he's truly done. And I think, much like AJ Styles, when Brock Lesnar says he's going to do something and he makes a statement, it's probably true. And he's probably going to stick to it. Now,
he's lied to us before.
It's true.
WrestleMania 34 is popping in my head right now. He's lied to us before.
But he also did do an interview not too long ago that said he is coming close to the end.
Yeah.
We just didn't know it, So if this is the end, man, wow. I didn't think I was going to have to talk about a retirement tonight on this podcast, much less Brock Lesnar's retirement. We just got him back at SummerSlam, and now we're saying goodbye to him unexpectedly already. It's like, man, I'm not prepared for this.
Yeah, I think it's one of those two that, like, I think if we get the Gunther match, it'll be awesome. It'll be a great moment. It'll be another, notch in the feather or the cap of Gunther to say, hey, I knocked off all these people. But if you wanted the shock value of Brock retiring, this was the perfect way, the perfect place, and the perfect opponent to do it. There are certain things about Brock that you can kind of tell. He's kind of like Randy Orton in a lot of ways, of when he's invested and into it, you can very easily tell. And when he does not care about it, you can just as easy tell that, because it's normally really, really bad. This whole story with him and Oba has been amazing from the beginning. Like, from the night Seth came out, we all thought it was going to be Seth Brock, and then Oba's music dropped. It has been absolutely amazing. And I mean, let's be real honest. Oba has been standing tall the whole way, including tonight. And Brock doesn't just do that for a lot of people. And so I think that kind of shows his mindset of, if I'm going out on my own terms, I want to make a star while I do it. And the only person, I mean, Gunther, you could argue, does Gunther need it or not? Maybe, maybe not. But if you want to put the rocket on somebody's back and really just watch them fly in the sky all the way to the top, Oba Femi was the perfect choice. I think they absolutely nailed it tonight with it.
Yep. I mean, I do too. I thought it was done in the absolute best way that they could have done it. I think Oba is the right guy for this spot for sure. I'm glad it wasn't Gunther. After thinking about it, I'm like, it makes sense. For him to really pass the torch to a big guy, not just a storyline guy. That being said, though, Andy, I still have my reservations about where you go with Oba Femi next, because the immediate comparisons are 2002 Brock Lesnar. That's the immediate comparison. So
in the post show, he called out Roman. So there you go. But he said by the end of the year, basically by the end of the year, I will come face to face with the OTC. I I'm of the belief the person that's taking the belt off of Roman is going to be Oba. They're going to really build him up, and I don't have a single problem with that. I think it's the best way to do it. Put the world title on him right now. Again, you're talking about catching lightning in a bottle. The pop that that man's going to get when he wins the world title, whenever that is going to be massive. You talk about a guy looking like a champion, talking like a champion, having the presence of a champion. I don't think of anybody better on the roster right now than Oba Femi to be the one to take the title off of Roman and probably hold it for at least a decent amount of time. But I don't think it's going to happen. Like, I don't think tomorrow night Roman's going to cut a promo and Oba's going to interrupt him. He might, but I don't think he's going to be the only one. Like, I think there's going to be a handful of people that interrupt, and then we kind of can tell that story, maybe keep them apart for a while. But I think they're being pretty deliberate by as the first person on the post game show is Oba, and the first thing he really does is call out Roman. I think that is really telling of where we're heading next.
Yeah, he's definitely got his sights set there. I just hope they don't rush it. I think that's for Oba's benefit and for Roman's benefit, because I think we need a run with Roman back on top. Again, probably not as long as 1,316 days, but I think we need a run with Roman on top. And I think Oba still has some room to grow. I don't know exactly what that growth looks like. Again, I know he's a star, and I know you probably don't want to wait too long to put him at the very, very tippy top of the card. But I think he still has some growing to do. City Kitty in the chat, who does Heyman put his hooks into next? I guess now that Brock's gone, I think he's gonna have his hands full with Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins here a little bit. I'm anxious to see if the Vision is still a thing, if he is still affiliated with Logan Paul and Austin Theory, because he certainly wasn't last night. So I'll be anxious to see. What do you think?
Probably, I mean, the easy answer is probably Braun Breaker. I wouldn't be shocked if he tried to get in with Oba of just like, hey, you're the one that killed Brock. You're the one that took Brock out. You know, you're the next big thing. Look what I did for the career of Brock Lesnar. I can do that same thing for you. So I could definitely see that. Maybe he tries to weasel his way back in with Roman. So I think there are some options. I think, though, we're heading to the point where we're not going to see Paul on TV as much, which is, at this point, probably a good thing, because he has been heavily involved in a lot of stories over the last, 4 or 5 years. And so take him off TV for a while. That way, when he does show back up, maybe with a younger talent or whatever, it makes a bigger impact than him just kind of jumping from person to person to person, like we've been doing the last couple of years.
Yeah, for sure. I think Braun Breaker is who he's going to stick with, especially after he hugged him last night when he came back. And, that'll probably be the one that he's with right now for a little bit. But I think you're right. Less is more with Heyman. It makes more of an impact whenever he shows up if you take him off TV. So I think you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, Andy. Night number 2 is in the books. What's your match of the night? Is it the main event? Is it the Intercontinental title match? Is it Brock and Oba? What's your match of the night?
My match of the night, my match of the weekend is the main event. I think it's the spectacle, it's WrestleMania, it's the main event, and when it's as good as that main event was, it's hard to put anything else above it. I do think like the 3, maybe 4 best matches of the weekend came tonight. Because I think for me it probably goes main event, IC ladder match, Brock Oba. Maybe that's where I put Seth and Gunther, but I may also put I'm blanking on one from last night.
Jade
Last
Rhea.
night I had it. Maybe I don't think Jade and Rhea was as good, but maybe the women's tag, the Fatal 4-Way women's tag was really, really good. But I do think I think the top 3 best matches of the weekend came tonight, and I think it's that order of the main event, the IC ladder match, and then Brock Oba.
I cannot give my top 3. Well, I can give my top 3. I can say main event, IC title match, and then I'd put Gunther and Seth at 3. And then I'm going to reserve judgment for the rest because I have not gone back to watch Cody Randy yet. That's the one match from last night that I haven't watched. So I'm going to reserve judgment just for now, just because it was for a world championship and it was the main event of number one. But I'm in complete agreement with you. Tonight's main event is match of the weekend. It's what a main event's supposed to be. There was no interference. There was no ref bump. There was the referee giving some leniency with the steel steps and some fighting in the crowd and this, that, and the other. It's exactly what a WrestleMania main event should be. Those two guys delivered in a huge, huge way. Okay. WrestleMania is in the books. But Andy, tomorrow night is the Raw after WrestleMania. We know we're going to hear from Roman. We know Femi's going to be there. We know we'll probably get some sort of WrestleMania rematch of some sort on the show. Anything else that you are looking forward to seeing tomorrow night? Think we're going to see tomorrow night?
I mean, there's always the possibility of a debut or a return. I don't. Paige was kind of my go-to of the return, so now that she's already back, I don't really know if we'll get a big return. But I do think, we may get an NXT debut. We may get an Ethan Page. We may get, this may be where they call Joe Hendry up full-time and he's fully on the main roster now. I do think we're going to get something like that. I think we'll probably get a world title match or a title match tomorrow night, one way or another. Maybe Penta puts the IC title on the line. I doubt, maybe maybe with the way that Liv and Stephanie ended on night one, they make them run it back and bar Judgment Day from ringside or something. But I do think
women's tag team titles, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But I do think we're kicking the night off with Roman, and I think we're going to really set the stage of, Oba may come out, Seth may come out, Braun Breaker may come out, there may just be Gunther may come out, Finn may come out. I think there's just a lot of options that they can go with. I think it's going to be interesting to see where we head from here, and I think it's going to really set the stage for what the rest of the year is going to look like.
Yep. And we're going to be right here covering it for you because our regular live shows are Mondays after Raw. And just because it's WrestleMania week does not mean that we're stopping that. I'm about to go to the airport right now and get on a red eye, and I will be home, and we will do our normal show tomorrow night. My internet is fixed, by the way. I've been told that my internet at home is ready to go. So we shouldn't have any problems. We should have an excellent live show tomorrow night, and we hope that all of you will tune in with us. If you're brand new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, leave some more comments. We'll get back to each and every one of them. Thank you to City Kitty and to Levi and to everybody who has participated throughout this WrestleMania week, getting us to 400 subscribers. And if you didn't catch the special live show that I did with Tom Bryce, SportsWire Radio, Tom Bryce has, for a second time, inducted Squared Circle Radio into the SportsWire Hall of Fame. So we are now two-time Hall of Famers, two-time Hall of Famers. So Andy, big things happening in the world of Squared Circle Radio as we wrap up WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, for real. I mean, we got to figure out another way to get in 3 more times, and we can steal the Booker T gimmick and go 5 times. We're 5-time. It's an awesome. Right. I mean, it's a great privilege. Tom does such an amazing job with SportsWire, and our show is played basically. If you wait, throughout the day and just listen to it, you'll probably hear our show more than once being played, which is awesome.
Yep.
And so we're very grateful for him and for all that he does. For our brand
Tom
and for everything.
The chat with us. There he is.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
We love you, Tom. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. If you haven't checked out SportsWire Radio, he has a great YouTube channel. I'm going to pop this back up there. That's the YouTube address, SportsWire Radio 6579. Go check it out, especially if you're a music fan. He's got some incredible interviews with some great artists over there, ones that trust me. So go check it out, as well as some great wrestlers over there too. It's not music, it's not wrestling, it's everything. So Tom does a great job. We appreciate him and including us in his coverage. All right, that's going to do it. Andy, I'm going to go get on an airplane. And I'm going to try to get some sleep and I'm going to go home. Thank you all for hanging out with us for WrestleMania weekend. It's been a blast. I'm trying to make sure we have more comments here. Yes, I'm losing my voice. If you can't tell, Tom, I'm losing my voice. It hurts really bad. That's why we're signing off right now. For Mr. Andy York, my name is Chris Belcher. This has been another edition of Squared Circle Radio Live, and we will catch you guys down the road.